This is lesson number 10 in the beginner series, and it's all about the groove. Y'all, welcome back to the Brownstone. I'm glad you're here. As I say in every video, it's been a long time, but you know, life be life, and that's just how it is. Today we're talking all about groove, and I really wanted to get into playing with a metronome, but also focusing on like how to take exercises, groove exercises, and really turn them into something that allows you to groove a lot more. So you're not just working on your time and making sure that you're marking those quarter notes properly, but also turning these exercises into something that's a little bit more musical and can advance you in your ability to groove when you finally get up and play with some like-minded musicians. So here's how we're going to do that today. Today I'm going to focus on the eighth note subdivision. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, if we take a constant stream of quarter notes, let's say at 80 BPM, trusty Anna 1 is ready to go with that right now.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So there's our quarter note. Now, by turning this quarter note subdivision into the eighth note subdivision, we play all the notes in between. I want you to imagine, if you will, a bouncing ball. And that ball hits the floor on every downbeat. But watch my finger. There are two motions happening here. There's a down and an up. And every time we get to the up, that's an and. So 1, 2, 3, 4 on all the downbeats. And then when my finger goes up, we get all the ands like this. And. And then when I put them together, I get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all of a sudden you're counting the eighth note subdivision. So that keeps things nice and simple. So now here's what I want you to do. Instead of using your finger, I want you to tap your foot. And every time your toes hit the ground, that's the downbeat. And then when your toes come up and they've reached the top, that's the upbeat. We have the downbeats and then we have the upbeats. So that when I tap my foot, I get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's all I want you to practice. Just practice tapping your foot to the rhythm. And then count that eighth note subdivision. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Are you keeping in time? Are you locked in with what the metronome is doing? If you're not, see where you have to adjust. You might be rushing things a little bit. You might be slowing things down as you tap your foot. But as long as you can get nice and solid within that groove, your time is going to be great. And then we can move on from there. The purpose of the demonstration that I played at the top of this video was simply to show how the eighth note can really groove. I didn't play anything beyond the eighth note subdivision. I didn't need to play fast, but I allowed myself the freedom to explore the possibilities within the eighth note subdivision. What does that mean? That means I have, 8 eighth notes that I'm working with, and I can play them in any combination. I can play them all. I can play 1 or 2 of them. I can leave different spaces in unusual places and allow for the groove to propel itself that way. So I don't have to rely on speed. I don't have to rely on flashy technique. I can use the eighth note subdivision to my advantage. Let me show you what I mean by that. So here's our quarter note. And when I count the eighth note, I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But before we even play a note on the bass, we can mess around with this subdivision a little bit. Maybe I can come up with different patterns where I have 1 on the downbeat, so I'll play the first note of the bar, and then maybe I'll play 2 upbeats. And we can put those two upbeats in, 2 of 4 places, because we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? So what if I played the first 2 ands and the downbeat? That rhythm would sound like this. 1 and 2 and. 1 and 2 and. 1 and 2 and. So I would get something like this. Something as simple as that. If you're just starting out with this rhythm, these kinds of rhythms, then maybe just take one note. Play all of these rhythms on one note before you start adding other notes. And then you can just focus on the time and really nailing the notes that you want to go for within the bar. So if I play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4,
2, 3.
just on one note. Maybe switch it up. Go down to the low E from the G. For 4 bars. And then maybe once you're more comfortable, play every 2 bars. 2, down to E. For 2 bars. 2 bars, 3rd fret of the E on G, 2 bars on E, open E. So let's stay there, right? Let's stay with this groove that goes back and forth between the G at the 3rd fret of the E string and then the open E string. And we'll go 2 bars each. But now let's change the rhythm, right? Because what we did was we started with the 1, and then the first upbeat, and then the second upbeat. What would happen if we took the 1 and then played the second upbeat and then the third upbeat? Let's count that out. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's the subdivision. So what we're doing is we're taking the 1, and then we're skipping the first upbeat, and then playing the second and third upbeat. If that's confusing, then let's just go back to the bouncing ball. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 1 and 4. 1 and 4. Once you know what it is, take it to the bass. 2, 3, 4. It's tricky, but you'll get it. So you see how that's happening? We've got a downbeat, we're playing beat 1, and then we're playing different combinations of the upbeats. In this particular case, we're taking 2 consecutive upbeats and we're moving them through. So if we move them through one last time, we will play the 3rd upbeat and the 4th upbeat. What does that sound like? Let's check it out.
1, 2, 3, 4.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Right? So we're taking the downbeat, the 1, and then we are taking the 3rd and 4th upbeat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1. And then once you know what it is, you know what to do. We take it to the bass. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. See what's happening? We're grooving. No question about it. I hope that all makes sense. Work with this video, practice it over and over again, because not only are you working on your time, but you're also working on your ability to groove. And that is what we get called for. We don't get called to play flashy solos and all kinds of like pentatonic runs and all this other stuff. When we get called to play a gig, we are called to lay down the pocket. And this puts you on a path to do that to the best of your ability. So I hope it helps. And if you like this video, please do me a favor and click like. You know all the business. I don't like saying all that stuff, but I guess it's necessary for the algorithm. And it helps the channel a lot. I appreciate you tuning in so much. I'm glad you're out there. I appreciate the super thanks, the donations, the comments, the likes, all of it. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And thank you for visiting the Brownstone, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.